The EFF says it's disappointed with the resignation of Herman Mashaba. The party has described Mashaba as humble, consultative and willing to concede to superior logic. The EFF says it will enter into internal consultations and they will at the right moment inform the people of South Africa and the city of Johannesburg of their proposed way forward. The EFF and DA were coalition partners in the city. And for more on this story, I'm joined in studio by EFF spokesperson Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. Thanks very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you, and good afternoon to the viewers at home.
Super. So why does the EFF express disappointment at the resignation of Herman Mashaba?
Well, first of all, it's because of all the coalition led, particularly by the opposition parties following the 2016 local government elections outcome, of all those municipalities that were hung and were led by mayors that were forwarded by opposition parties. Herman Mashaba was the one that understood and took with some sense of humility the responsibility of leading a coalition government. He had an appreciation that the DA did not win with an outright majority. So he was never arrogant, and that opened him up to genuine conversations about the circumstances and the conditions that the people in the city were faced with. That's why we were able to have important gains that could not have even been realized under the ANC in 24 years. Insourcing of cleaning staff, insourcing of security guards, things like opening clinics up until to the late hours of the evening, the stabilization of the GMPD, expropriation of buildings around Alexandra to cater for social, residential settlement. These are things that you could have never, realized with a person who would have come from a DA that firstly was, advocated for policies that were not pro-poor, but also that had a very strong element of white supremacy. From the start, there was always a resistance within the DA, a difficult relationship within the DA with the white caucus, or people who mobilized themselves around the interests, views, and ideas and the person of Helen Zille. And to that extent, of all the people, Trolley, the ones in Tshwane, in Johannesburg, it was a working relationship that was working for the people.
Yes.
And that's why we have expressed a deep disappointment of a person like that. He was a pleasant disappointment because, as you know, we were never really much in favor of him. And then he was the most understanding, the most consultative, the most you could win on programmatic, efficient questions that were saving money to the city but servicing the poor.
Yeah.
Of all the mayors that were there, he was the one that actually understood coalition government.
So what's your analysis of what's taking place in the DA right now?
Well, the DA is basically contrasting and taking a step backward to its white supremacist interests. It's going to be very difficult because at the core here, it's the refusal to be led by black people. At the core here, it's the basic racism of not accepting black leadership, of not accepting to be directed by black people, which is something that we warned on the negotiations table when we were going to vote for hung municipalities, that we worry about the strength of white caucuses in different municipalities. And that's basically what has happened over the weekend, is that white caucus misdiagnosed the 2019 elections outcome, and they blame their fall on the fact that they are led by black people. It's very racist, but also unfortunate.
So the EFF has indicated that it's still kind of digesting what's taken place and a way forward. What are your initial thoughts about what the way forward will be now that we basically don't have a mayor after the end of November?
Well, we have time. We have the whole of the remaining days of this month and November to seriously subject that question into internal scrutiny. So conversation of the leadership is going to begin, and as and when we are ready about a concrete way forward, that sort of consolidates what Herman Mashaba was beginning to do in Johannesburg. He inherited a seriously depleted city. They uncovered billions of corruption of the ANC that the NPA is refusing to prosecute, that institutions of the state that are of law enforcement are refusing to go and recover. But it's there, the evidence is there, the documentation is there that billions and billions of rands were looted by the previous ANC government over a few decades. It was in charge of the city. So you've got to think about all those gains. Think about, you know, the progress that was beginning to happen around a building of internal state capacity for a city that did not have to depend on tenders to execute its core duties and functions. So we're really having to think about all of that, and then what are the options in the opposition. So that conversation is going to ensue, and as and when we are ready to say the way forward, will inform the people of South Africa and the city of Joburg.
Yeah. So for the people of the city of Johannesburg, can they be reassured that there's going to be a seamless leadership transition? That is, when Mr. Mashaba finishes on the 27th of November, there will indeed be new leadership going forward, because people may be worried about the implications of this for service delivery.
Well, we're all worried about that because we're dealing with a completely cantankerous DA. It's trigger friendly. They are very sensitive. They are very divided on one hand, and then you are dealing also with the consolidation of a racist caucus, and we have to think about all those things. So all the options, as wild as possible, are going to be laid on the table. That's how you arrive at a superior logic. You have to entertain all the views and think about their implications. And then there is no hurry. As and when a resolution is reached in the EFF about what must happen in Johannesburg, will inform the people of Johannesburg. But I think a lesson here really is that the voters of South Africa have to start helping us about the decisions that they make, to start giving more of the votes to stable political leadership, political parties that are able, not mid-term, you know, start having internal fights and outbursts.
You mean political parties like yours?
The EFF, unfortunately, is the most stable of all the major political parties inside. That's a fact, unfortunately. We're the most stable, the most united. We're going on conference in December. You don't see factions that are fighting. We've just concluded our branch activities where we're electing delegates to conference. There were no conflicts. There was no blood spill.
Yeah.
The EFF is exercising its internal business with the uttermost maximum discipline. And that's a part you have to invest in, because it means it's able to sustain a project over a long period of time, because it is able to run its internal affairs.
That was going to be my next question, in fact, how progress is going in terms of the preparations for your conference in December.
We've been very proud, really, of the type of discipline the EFF members have shown. You know, we've received some of the most negative media in the last 3 months, an attack that has been concerted, probably hoping that there will be the type of divisions that we see in other political parties. But members of the EFF have been on the ground, built credible branches in wards across South Africa, elected leadership in those branches, elected delegates. Yesterday we concluded regional and provincial structures, delegations, meetings, where they were electing delegates for the conference. And we will be taking the media and other service providers next week, Monday, on a tour at Nasrec, where the conference will be taking place. We'll be launching discussion documents very soon that are covering a whole spectrum of sectors in South Africa about our proposals on what must happen to this country in energy, in the ICT, across the board. And that is happening within a very strong and united and stable organization. So we're very pleased with that progress.
Mbuyiseni, thank you very much for your time, sir. That was Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. He's the spokesperson at the EFF.